Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. We're working on the curved log cabin today, and I'm going to be cutting strips from a border print. So if you want to see how to get strips from a print like this, please stay tuned. So I've been working on this curved log cabin. You might have seen my most recent video about these blocks. They are scrappy, and I really like this scrappy look that we get with all the different darks and different lights. And right now, as I've been stitching, I'm starting to run out of dark fabric. So I went through my stash and I found this piece of fabric that I would say it was gifted to me, but not exactly. Somebody was giving it away and I just chose it out of a lot of different things that they had. And it says on the bottom, Fabric Traditions, and it's copyright 2002. So it's a pretty old print, but it's still good for what we are going to be doing with it today. What I like about it is, number one, it is dark blue, and I just love blues. But another thing is that it is a border print. So it has the stars at the top here, but then down at the bottom, it has some white clouds. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is getting some fabric strips out of here, and I want to use the fabric so that I get darks and lights. So my first step is going to be, since I need 2.5 inch dark strips, is I notice this dark blue section at the bottom, and I think it's about 2.5 inches. So I'm going to fold the fabric so that I can get a nice 2.5 inch strip out of the bottom of this fabric. I am folding it long ways, and I'm lining up the selvage edge here. And this typically is not the way that I would cut fabric, but I think it's going to be cool to help me get this dark strip. And I'm going to fold it a second time. Okay. So that I'm lining up the selvages here. And it does not have to be perfect. You know, I'm just getting some strips out of this fabric. And I'm using my shape cut ruler here to make this one cut, and I may go ahead and make some other cuts at the same time. So lining it up at the bottom, and actually I may not use my shape cut because it's a little bit long. If I put my shape cut here, this strip is too long, so I would have to make a couple cuts. So I'm just going to use my long ruler. This is my 6 by 24, and I'm lining up along one stitch line on the bottom here. So one of the lines of the ruler is lined up with the bottom of what's going to be my cut. And I'm going to go ahead and make one cut. This is going to get rid of this selvage edge. I don't know if I'm going to put it with my string parts or if I'll just chunk it. And then I'm going to turn this so that, since I'm left-handed, and then I'll line up my ruler, the edge of the fabric with the 2.5 inch line, and then make another cut. And this does not have to be perfect. It just has to be close, because my strip blocks are going to be very forgiving and I have to square them up anyway. So here's one cut of the dark fabric. Next, I'm going to work on the lighter fabric, because one cool thing about a border print, especially this one, is that a lot of it is dark, but then there's part of it that's light. So now I'm going to get some light pieces out. I will cut off, since there's a little bit of dark here, I'm just going to cut that off so it's about 1 inch. And this will automatically go into my strings. And now I'm going to make cuts that are 1.5 inches up until I feel like it's not light anymore. Once I feel like it's getting more dark, I'm just not going to cut anymore. So, and I like these strips because they're going to be very long, which means I can get a lot of, I can stitch a lot of blocks onto them. And then 2. Here's a 3rd, and see, it's still light right here, so I can keep going. Here's a 3rd. Okay. And then let's try for one more. I don't know if I'll really be able to get 5 out of here, but I should be able to get 4. Here's the 4th one. Okay, so now it's kind of a tricky part, because now if I put my ruler down, it's not all white. So now, like if you look here, there is some dark and some dark. So I'm not going to pull anymore. Actually, I'll make one more cut, but I'm going to put it in my strings. I'm not going to stitch it. I'll do 1 3/4 inches just to get all of this white off. Okay, and so this is going to go into my strings, and this is going to go into my strings, and these other 4 pieces are going to go toward my piecing that I'm working on. Okay, the last step is to cut the dark strips. Now, since I basically have a selvage to selvage cut here, I have several options, and I'm not sure if I should cut from this way using my shape cut, or if I should just keep cutting the way I have been. I think just for the sake of time and for the sake of the piecing, I'm just going to keep going with what I've been doing, because it's going to give me longer strips. So I will keep it folded this way. I'm just going to double check it to make sure that that it's square. So I'm going to line up these, make sure that these selvages down here are lined up. Of course, at this point I could go either way. I could choose to go what looks like selvage to selvage, or I could just cut these longer strips. So I'm just folding it to make sure that it's gonna work. And I'm folding it back on itself. Alright, so now I'm going to start over on the right side here, just so that I can cut towards my left, since that's my dominant hand. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to cut as many 2.5-inch strips that I can, and then I'll be able to add those to my piecing. Okay. So I'm going to start, the first cut I'm making is actually like at 3 1/4 or something, because it's going to get rid of the selvage. So, and then I'm going to, I'll cut this part at the end. Alright, and I'm going to finish cutting my 2.5-inch strips, and I'll show you what they all look like. I finished cutting my scraps, and I think I got 13 strips out of that one piece of fabric, and they are this long. I don't know how long this is, maybe about, I don't know, 36 inches, I don't know. But yeah, so hopefully these will last a pretty good bit as I work on my curved log cabin blocks. If you have any questions about making scraps from a border print, please leave them below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!